Howdy partners, it's so good to be here again, as always. It's snowing in Montreal again today. I know we're halfway through April, but welcome to Canada. Anyways, last year Alex Garland brought us Civil War, a film that he wrote and directed, and that was a very dystopian depiction of what a near future America could look like, and for all we know, it might still happen. These are crazy times we live in. But now, roughly a year later, he's back again in the cinemas, though this time he's not alone. On Warfare, he co-wrote and co-directed this film with Ray Mendoza, and he is a US Navy SEALs veteran who served for 16 years, and now he's turned into a Hollywood military advisor, most often specializing in gunfight choreography. Though now he's delving into some very personal history. I thought it was interesting reading up on interviews that he likens to writing with Garland as going to the therapist. And I do think it is interesting how they describe the screenwriting process of this film as this detective forensic work of detailing the memories of these soldiers who really were there in this event. Their objective here really was to be authentic to the stories that these soldiers lived through, and not to over-dramatize things needlessly. So yes, the film recounts this surveillance mission in Ramadi, Iraq in the year 2006, where this mission had a catastrophic conclusion. Yeah, things did not go according to plan for them. And honestly, this film made me sick to my stomach on a couple occasions. This was an incredibly tense and immersive experience. It does start off as a slow burn, but even when the bullets start flying, it feels like each second holds the weight of the world on its shoulders. I vividly remember the moments where the soldiers were shouting 2 minutes in anticipation of the tanks coming in as reinforcement to exfiltrate their wounded soldiers. Those 2 minutes felt like the longest 2 minutes of my life. Understandable given the dangerous circumstances, with the sword of Damocles hanging over their wounded soldiers as well. And I would say a lot of that emotional weight comes through the truly stellar sound design in this film. Yes, the gunshots and explosions will shake you to your core. Even though I was expecting that going to this film, they really do pack a punch in your gut, more than most films. And the cacophony of the screams of the wounded soldiers, plus the radio chatter just layered on top of each other from multiple directions all at the same time, is simply dizzying. This film will literally raise your blood pressure. But for me, it was the silence that creates this absolutely deafening sonic landscape in the film. And I also really do appreciate the attention to detail in terms of the sonic landscape outside the house and then inside this house where they're all bunkered up together. It is quite a powerful contrast, and it further heightens this feeling of claustrophobia in this one location set. And it is noteworthy seeing the transition of confidence on these soldiers that are battle hardened and trained and ready for anything to happen. But after they've been attacked, those defenses are absolutely crushed, and you can just take one look at their faces and just see just how shell-shocked they are. It reaches the point where they're barely even functioning as human beings, even without any exterior wounds. And speaking of wounds, the visual gore on display here is simply nauseating. It is only made worse by the screams of their injured friends and their total loss of control in this chaotic situation. Simply harrowing stuff. So in terms of the technicality of this film, I think it is aces. The cinematography expertly captures that feeling of shell-shocked and this hazy numbness that the soldiers are experiencing. There's one moment in particular that is kind of seared in my mind. It is a relatively quieter moment, all things considered, where a soldier is sitting on a bed with these red curtains in the backdrop. That room with its red glow, the dusty clouds suffocating the air, and this blank expression on the soldier's face is something that resonates quite strongly on screen. And I do have to shout out the choreography in this film, because it truly feels authentic. It really shows that there's expertise with their eyes on every little detail in this film. So if you are looking for references of military films and whatnot of what it's like to be inside of a war zone, I mean, this is top tier content when it comes to a visual benchmark. And thank God that the film isn't too long. It's like roughly over 90 minutes long. That was way more than enough for me because, like I said, it did make me sick to my stomach. So in terms of its technical achievement, I think this film is pretty fantastic. So I'd say it's a solid 8 out of 10. But if you can ask me on a personal level how much I appreciate this film, let's just give it a 0 out of 10. It never ceases to boggle my mind that us humans just find ourselves in these fucking war zones all the time. And now in April 2025, it seems that we're on the verge of having yet even more war in this world. Haven't we seen enough? As heroic as some of the efforts of these soldiers individually for their comrades may be, can we just not embroil ourselves into yet another war? I mean, I'm saying this as a Canadian, I'm not American, but god damn it, what more is there to say? So with all that being said, wishing you and your loved ones nothing but the best. Truly, let's just get through this life in one piece, right? Alright, take care everyone. Bye now.